Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. Today we will be setting up my February bullet journal spreads, and I was so torn between doing a Valentine's based theme or a Chinese New Year one, but ultimately the Valentine's theme won, so we ended up with this very pink and soft bow theme. The cover spread for this month is a Dutch door-ish layout. I don't know if this counts as a Dutch door actually. You would have seen that I cut the page into this wiggly shape, which we'll see why in a moment. And yes, I cut it off camera because I hate cutting things on camera for some reason. For the February title, it pretty much takes up the entire page here. I use a Tombow dual brush pen to write February in a flowy cursive style and just curving down to the next line when I reach the end of the page. On the left side, we are drawing a bow at the top of the page with another color of Tombow dual brush pen. I love all the colors I chose for this month. It's just so soft and girly, and as always, all the stationery I use will be listed in the description, including the color codes for the Tombows. And for the quote I chose for this month, I was scrolling Pinterest the other day and I saw this, which I thought was perfect for the month of love. It says, "Love, noun, someone who can tolerate you when you're hungry," and that perfectly captures what love is in my opinion. It actually says true love in the original photo, but I just used the word love instead of true love here. Moving on to behind the Dutch door, I am covering this entire section, which is like half the page, with tiny little bows. Some parts of this will be visible from the cover page. I first saw something similar to what I'm doing here on Blossom Bujo's Instagram. It's from one of her setups from a few months back. I thought it was so pretty and this layout was stuck in my head from that moment, and I'm finally doing it for February. I really miss doing Dutch doors because it just makes your journal a little bit more interactive. It is really hard to incorporate a Dutch door layout into the spreads because the notebook itself is really slim. I guess that's the only thing I miss about having a larger bullet journal, but I am still really enjoying this travel size and I have no regrets choosing it for 2024. I am also adding some dots and sparkles to this area here to help fill out the space, and setting up this month's spread felt so refreshing because I did such minimal planning and made parts up as I go, which isn't usually what I do. At first, this was all I had planned to do for this spread here, but I thought that it looked a little plain, so I added these dashed lines to the edge of where I cut the page. And that is it for the cover and quote page. We are moving on to the next spread, which is not the monthly calendar, but the mood tracker. We are starting off with making these dashed lines like on the other side of the page, and the main reason I put the mood tracker here instead of the monthly calendar is I couldn't find a nice way to fit the calendar grid on this weird layout of the page, and it is also fun to switch things up once in a while. I then use my wooden stamps to stamp on mood tracker down the side here, following the curve of the page. And And because I am really enjoying my January mood tracker, I'm gonna be doing the same thing again for February, which is drawing in my mood instead of coloring or color coding my mood. So for this, I picked out 3 different colors of my Tombow dual brush pens to draw 29 little circles, which corresponds to each day of the month. And I can draw in a different bow shape in each circle to signify how I feel for that day. After the circles are drawn in, I went in with a Sakura Pigma Micron to add a little number above each circle. And at the top here, I am drawing the different bows. I always have 4 options for my mood. Well, not always 4, but always an even number, because then I don't have a middle or a neutral option. I am forced to pick between like a slightly good or a slightly bad day, which helps with reflections and things like that. I think what I like about this style of mood tracking is that I am only ever required to have 1 pen throughout the month to fill out this spread, instead of like 4 or how many ever colors of pens, which just makes my life a bit more simple, and doodling is just fun in general. And we are done with the mood tracker. I really love the look of this page and I'm really excited to fill it out, but now we are moving on to my habit tracker. I am starting off with stamping on the word habits on top of the page and then use the small nib side of the Tombow dual brush pen to draw 6 mini calendars. At first, I was gonna do more than 6 because right now in January, there are also 6 things that I'm tracking, and I'm finding myself wanting to track more things, but ultimately I stuck with 6 again because it is better to have just like a handful of things to focus on. Trying to do many things at the same time is just setting myself up for failure. I just want to say that I have a sticker sheet that is loosely based on this theme coming out at the end of the month. When I say loosely based, what I mean is that they are both pink and they both have bows. But yeah, that'll be out on my shop, jamandbutter.net, which is always linked down below in the description. And then I'm just highlighting the top of each calendar, and I actually made a mistake here. I somehow managed to make one of the lines shorter than the others. I actually only noticed this when I was watching back the footage. I have fixed it now and everything is all good, but that just annoys me. At the bottom here, I'm adding another bow for decoration, and the paper in this notebook is actually a little different from Notebook Therapy's like 160 GSM paper that comes in their normal bullet journals. I believe that this paper is only like 140 or 150 GSM, and it does have a fair bit more ghosting when light shines through, and in this case, you'll see in a bit that it actually bled through to the other side, which I was surprised by, but thankfully, it was really minor, so it didn't really bother me that much. I don't mind ghosting in my bullet journals, but bleed through is kind of a problem in my opinion. Anyways, we are moving on to the page on the right. This month, I'm bringing back a sleep tracker because my sleeping has been out of whack recently. I feel so sleep deprived, but I think I'm getting in more than 7 hours each night, so I don't really know what's going on here, and I thought it was better to go back to tracking my sleep. And I made a mistake the first time drawing out the table, so I decided to cover it up with a piece of paper and just start again. I can get quite distracted when making spreads in my bullet journal because I like to have something playing in the background while setting them up, like a podcast or other people's bullet journal setup videos, and sometimes I get too focused on the thing playing in the background, and that is usually when mistakes happen. But it's okay, mistakes can always be fixed with like a white gel pen or something, or if the mistake is really big, you can always cover it up like what I did here. My sleep tracker is very simple. I just have this big table here where I will write in the dates in the small column on the left, and will write in the time along the top, and each day I can just highlight the section from when I went to bed to the time I wake up in the morning. And yeah, that's my habit and sleep tracker. Moving on to the next spread now, we are finally making the monthly calendar. I am starting with writing February in the top left corner of the page in cursive. I am still practicing like cursive and calligraphy. I'm not the best at it, but I'm slowly practicing, slowly getting the hang of things, and practice always makes perfect in my opinion. Well, not always, but practice do make perfect. We are now making the calendar grid, and what I love about using a smaller notebook is that it is less daunting to decorate and way more easier to fill up the page. Again, like last month, I had only just about over an hour of footage, which is a nice change from the normal 2 to 3 hours I usually have for the setups in my A5 bullet journal. I am able to slow down the clips a lot more. It makes editing so much easier and doesn't take as much space in my MacBook, so I think it's a total win. These calendar boxes are 5 grid spaces tall by 4 grid spaces wide. I think one of the downsides though of using a smaller notebook can be the fact that the boxes of your calendar grid will have to be quite small if you want to fit it nicely onto one spread. I don't mind it at all. My writing is pretty small, so I can get away with making it smaller, but I can see how that might be a deal breaker for some people. On top of each column, I am making these circles, and I actually grabbed for the wrong color marker than what I actually wanted to use, but I think it turned out pretty nice with this marker, maybe even nicer than the original color I had planned. And then I just stamped the first letter of the days of the week in each circle and wrote the date in the top center of each box. To the left of the calendar, I am making 5 more boxes, and this will be the place for me to write in the main things that are happening in that week, or like the main thing I have to get done in that week. In the space that is left here at the bottom, I'm making another bow with a long flowy tail as a bit of decoration on this page. And that's it for the calendar spread. The next and final spread to set up is my content calendar, which is pretty much staying the same because this layout works for me, so I see no reason to change it. So I started off by stamping the word content at the top of the page, then drawing a 2x2 grid space kinder grid. And I know I say this in all my videos, but I really do appreciate all the support and nice comments you guys leave under my videos. It is really like a motivational boost, lights me up every time. Even though I'm still like a small creator, every time I see the views go up and the supportive comments coming in, I'm like, oh my god, someone actually watches and enjoys my videos, and that's like a really nice feeling. So thank you so much. I am then writing in the dates in the top left corner of each box, and the boxes are really small because I'm not actually going to be writing anything in the box. I will just put like a dot to signify that I have content to put out that day, and then the actual like title of the content itself will go on a list on the page on the right. I stamped on 2 more words below the calendar, ideas and notes, and just made a row of bows next to each of them. And then on the page on the right, I just wrote the dates down the side and also splitting the weeks up from each other. So basically I would leave like a space between Sunday and the following Monday to make it easier to visualize for myself. And with the dates written in, we are done with this setup. So here's a final flip through of all the spreads we did today. I am so happy with the colors I chose for this month. It's so pink and girly. There's actually not much going on the spreads themselves. It is really the colors that made this setup so soft and cute. And if you want to see what these spreads look like filled out, then make sure to stick around and follow me on Instagram because I will be posting them there throughout the month and I would love to see you there. My Instagram and my shop jamandbutter.net is linked down below in the description as always. And thank you so much for spending your time with me today. Have a wonderful day or night. Bye!